Shohei Ohtani. Blue Jays issue intentional walk, one at bat too late. The Dodgers survived an epic, late-night slugfest at Dodger Stadium, but the real story might be how Toronto ultimately neutralized Shohei Ohtani's bat by refusing to let him hit. What began as one of the most electric individual performances in World Series history turned into a tactical pivot that changed the feel of the game, even if it arrived too late to alter the scoreboard. Ohtani's 4 extra base hits and a string of walks kept the spotlight trained on him for all 18 innings, and the ripple effects of that marathon will be front and center as the series shifts toward Game 4. Managers, pitchers, and fans are left weighing risk, reward, and whether the simplest strategy, intentional passes, has finally beaten baseball's most dangerous two-way star. How the Blue Jays' strategy evolved against Shohei Ohtani. Early in Game 3, Ohtani tore into pitches and made it look like nothing could stop him. But as the innings stretched, Toronto switched to a damage control approach. When the margin for error was tiny, they simply avoided putting the ball in play. Early runs came the hard way. Ohtani racked up 4 extra base hits in the contest, a World Series first, forcing opponents to reevaluate. Intentional walks changed the math. Once Toronto began issuing free passes, Ohtani's opportunities to change the game with a swing diminished dramatically. Late game effect. With Ohtani sidelined offensively by walks, the Dodgers' offense stalled for large stretches, underscoring the tactical power of simply not challenging him in the zone. What happened in Game 3? Key moments that shaped the marathon. The night's headline was Ohtani's hitting display, but Game 3 turned into an attritional battle that exposed depth, fatigue, and roster limits on both sides. After nearly 7 hours of baseball, Freddie Freeman's solo homer off Brendan Little ended the 18-inning duel and tied the record for longest fall classic game. Injuries and extra innings drama. Toronto lost George Springer to a side muscle problem in the 7th, compounding an already troubling knee issue and weakening the lineup at a crucial juncture. Ohtani himself battled leg cramps late, an obvious concern given his scheduled pitching start the next night. Game length. 6 hours 39 minutes, a test for stamina and recovery. Key exit. Springer's departure reduced the Jays' offensive options during the long innings. Ohtani's condition. Cramps and exhaustion raised immediate questions about his readiness to pitch in Game 4. Why intentional walks became the deciding tactic. Once the Blue Jays shifted to intentional walks for Ohtani, the Dodgers lineup struggled to manufacture runs. The logic was straightforward. Trade one batter's chance for multiple outs against the rest of the order. That trade-off worked for long stretches, though not ultimately enough to secure the win. Analysts and former players reacted strongly to the pattern. Some argued that pitchers had to be better at locating to avoid getting punished, while others floated rule changes, like automatically awarding a runner second base after a 4-pitch intentional pass, to preserve the spectacle. Numbers and historical notes that matter. This game produced several headline-making feats and trends that will be referenced for years. Ohtani's offensive milestone. He became the first player to collect 4 extra base hits in a single World Series game. Walks piled up. By the end of Game 3, Ohtani had been walked 5 times, 4 of them intentional, a rare stat line in October baseball. Postseason streak. Ohtani's on-base run extended to 9 consecutive plate appearances, setting a new standard in playoff history. Health and workload. Can Ohtani still pitch effectively in Game 4? With Ohtani expected to take the mound in Game 4, the questions are immediate and layered. He finished Game 3 after a marathon at bat day, experienced cramps, and logged one of the most physically demanding nights a hitter can have. Managers and medical staffs now have to balance competitive urgency with player welfare. Factors to watch before first pitch. 1. Recovery time. How quickly Ohtani's legs and overall energy rebound after a 6+ hour contest. 2. Bullpen usage. Whether the Dodgers adjust their bullpen plan to compensate for any limitations on his arm. 3. Managerial decisions. Will the Jays continue the intentional walk strategy, or will they test the Dodgers by challenging other hitters? What the strategy means for both teams moving forward. The intentional walk plan has a clear message. Prioritize winning over entertainment when the stakes are highest. For Toronto, the gamble was logical. Accept runners on base and force lesser hitters to earn runs. For Los Angeles, the challenge becomes manufacturing offense without letting Ohtani be the decisive factor. Even with strange happenings, including high-leverage bullpen appearances and marathon innings that tested depth on both rosters, the series is still a chess match of pitcher usage, lineup construction, and in-game adjustments. Managers will continue to weigh the risks of pitching to Ohtani against the alternative of facing the rest of a loaded Dodgers order. Key things to monitor in Game 4 and beyond. Ohtani's pitching performance, velocity, stamina, and any signs of residual cramping or fatigue. Toronto's approach, whether they persist with intentional walks and how that affects the Dodgers' run production. Lineup health, updates on Springer's condition, and generally how each club handles late series injuries and workload. Managerial gambits, unusual bullpen deployments or pinch-hitting decisions that could tip momentum.